Hey, how's you going? I'm not gonna lie, I'm really excited for today's episode. I've got some pretty cool plans. But before I get to any of that, there's a lot of prep work that needs to happen. For example, this entire area needs to go flattened straight down to the level that it's at over here. And it's gonna be a decent amount of work, but nothing compared to what the actual build itself is gonna be. So I think I might just get stuck into it so then I can get to the cool part. And that I did. As you can see, I kind of just got straight to work pulverizing the land, setting a little bit of a limit for the width and also the length as well, by leaving just straight walls of terrain. Now, if for some reason you didn't read the title of the video, I've got a pretty good idea for an extra little detail that I'm going to add to this build. But if you didn't, I'll get more into that later, so you'll just have to wait to see what it is. Alright, you're just going to have to trust the process a little bit here, because after I put the buildings in, it's going to make a lot more sense. None of these walls are just going to be straight flat walls like this. They're all either going to be covered by a building, or they're just going to make sense. You'll see what I mean when I actually get to it. But before I get to anything, I'm pretty sure... While I have collected most of the resources off camera, I'm pretty sure I still need to collect woods for the builds. Yeah, in this box here, I've got plenty of oak logs, but I'm going to be using spruce and dark oak, and I don't have a lot of that, as you can see. My supplies have ran pretty dry, so we're going to have to go and collect some of that, and I might actually just do a quick little look through of what I'm going to be needing, and then I'm going to go and collect them while I'm at it as well. Now, I've got plenty of bones to supply me for these trees, but as you can see, some of my tools are pretty badly beaten up, so before I do anything, I'm definitely going to have to go and mend them up. Unfortunately though, I still don't have any decent means of getting XP, so I'm just going to have to go and mine skulk again, and I'm really starting to run out of skulk, so I have to go and scavenge for this stuff now. And I haven't been here in a while, dude, and I kind of forgot that I was actually playing with Create on this, if I'm gonna be completely honest. It caught me a little bit off guard there when I seen that moving, but actually, you know what, I might have some logs sitting around in my storage here. Well, I mean, some's a little bit of an understatement, that's a lot. That's plenty, I definitely won't run out with this. Alright, well in that case, I suppose that scraps that. I will still have to go and mend up some of my tools though, because regardless, that's still going to need to be done. And I actually really like this entrance, it's pretty cool. That actually reminds me, oh, never mind, hang on a minute. What are you doing here? Get out of here. What I was trying to say is that reminds me that I'm actually going to need to put some sort of a wall with entrances around in the village. And I might have to think something up for that, because I've kind of got that one little entrance there in between some of the buildings I did in the last episode, but I don't know. I'll have to think how I'm going to actually expand off of that. Alright, let's see if I can find any skulk that's going to be easily mineable. Alright, now we can just go to town. Alright, moving on to the next tool now. Not that my pickaxe exactly needs it, but I'll also give that a bit of a repair while I'm down here. Alright, everything's all repaired, we can head out now. Alright, so we are making blazing progress, and especially with that little bit of a boost we got from my old storage system. What was that lag spike? Oh my. But the next step is probably bringing this alley here and continuing it down to the side here so that I know what limits I have for this build. As well as that, I wanted to touch on the idea I had earlier where I wanted to bring this little bit of a entranceway here, I guess you could call it, around the rest of the village so and the villages inside can stay protected. So I'm going to bring that down around over to here somewhere. I don't know where I'm going to connect it from over there, but I do know that I want it to connect over here, going down along the line here of this wall that I have set up. I don't know what's going on with the lag either, and it's starting to annoy me, so I might have to leave it for today. Alright, well we might as well just get started building, so I'm gonna start off by doing it in kind of a bit of a reverse order. I'm gonna go straight in with the alleyway first, so that way that I know that I've actually got that alleyway in place, and I don't need to worry about making sure that the spacing is correct while I'm building the build. So I'm just going to start building it probably around here somewhere. Actually, I should probably clean up this wall first. Alright, that's a bit better. I think I might actually start inclining up here for the alleyway. So it's probably going to be something like this. I'll add the texture to it later, just so that I can see if this looks correct. And hopefully it lines up as well, because if it doesn't, then that'd be a bit annoying. Alright, yeah, that lines up pretty well. And I'll probably have to figure out that corner after I actually put the builds in, but I'd say it's probably going to be pretty much just like this. I don't know, because I'm probably going to make this build come in a little bit over here. So this wall is going to be straight up along like here, and then it's probably going to come in a block or two and then go off like that. So yeah, I don't know, I'll have to figure that out. But I'll probably wait until I actually put the builds in to figure that out, so we'll just see how it goes. Alright, so with this one I do actually want to try and make it a little bit different of a shape than just a straight rectangle, and I did do that with some of them last episode, but I want to develop more onto that. So I might try and mess around with some shapes a little bit in creative and then come back to this. But again, I do want to actually make sure that they are very different shapes, or maybe not very different, but just try and give a bit of more variety in this place. Okay, so I messed around with some shapes in a creative world, and I think I've come up with some decent ones, but I don't know whether they're going to fit very well into this space, so hopefully they do, but I'll have to maybe adjust them a little bit, putting them into here. But I think I might put this building about here, and then have like a bit more of a wider space in here before the entrance, which is going to go probably around about here, I'm thinking. So we're going to start it on this corner right here, and then here is where the different shape is going to come in. I'm going to offset this part by a block or two, so probably about over here is where I'm going to put this next pillar, and then that's going to allow it to have probably maybe like a garden or something in the front, just to make it look a little bit more cleaner than just a straight drop off. And then this extra section probably isn't going to be too long either. I'll probably only make it go out to about here and then come back in. And then as for this other wall, I'll probably just make it come straight over to here, and then this will be the space for the next building, but I'll worry about that after I actually finish with the first one. Okay, so it's got a decent skeleton now, so I might just place in the walls and work on details later. But I'm a little bit torn on whether I want to put the door here or over here. But I think I might want to put it over here and then do what I said earlier and put in like a garden or something here. I don't know, I'll see how it looks once I actually put the walls in, and I'll probably think about it while I'm doing that as well, so we'll just have to see. Alright, the walls are in, but I'm kind of thinking that it's a little bit too rich in color, so I might try and change some of these out for some dark oak logs instead, and just see how it looks. Alright, so I do think that looks a little bit better, and it also helps to make it feel a little bit different from this building as well, because this one is pretty much the same thing, just replacing the blue with the green. So with that in place, I might just put the signs around, and then I'll get straight to working on the roof. Okay, so this is done now apart from details like some windows and stuff that I might add later. But I think I might leave that until I build the second building. And that's pretty much just going to go in this space. And it might even just fill it up like perfectly, just as much as this space has left to go. So it's going to be a decently wide build, but I don't think I'm going to do much of a shape. It's probably just going to be a rectangle, which kind of does contradict what I said earlier. But with this build in front, it's going to make it look a little bit less just straight rectangular. So hopefully this idea is going to work, because I kind of want it to be like having a little bit of an area at the front here that I can put like, I don't know, like items that the shop might be selling out the front, and I just hope that it's going to look good. But I'm just going to get straight into it, and hopefully it turns out well. Alright, well you don't really need to see the exact same process again, so I'm just going to skip to the next part. Okay, it's very basic, and I'm not even going to talk about the back, because like, let me just show you real quick. It's... Yeah, we don't talk about that. But the builds around it makes it be good. So, or at least I hope. And this is probably going to be covered up by one of the outer walls, so you won't even need to see that part. Okay, so before we go anywhere further with the build, I'm going to finish up doing this alleyway and take it around the side here. Alright, lovely. Now that that's done, I might move on to finishing up the exterior with a couple of windows and probably some buttons as well. And then after that, I'm either going to move on to the interior or start doing that extra concept that I was talking about earlier. So let's just quickly blaze through this with a time lapse. Well, you know what? I forgot to record. I can't believe I've just done that, because this took so long, and it was also really frustrating. But anyway, I'm just gonna move on and act like that didn't happen. What I did here is to try and keep the villagers in and the mobs out. I've done this thing that I remember seeing a while ago. I don't know whether it still works, so I am gonna have to test it, but as you can see, I've just put fully grown berry bushes and put carpets over the top. And from what I can remember, it stops the mob's AI from tracking over it. So hopefully this is going to keep the villagers inside the village and the mobs outside. But I should probably actually test this though. So I might try and have to go and find like an animal or something to try and test it. You would not believe the lengths I've just went through to get this guy. There is no animals in like 1,000 block radius around this build. That actually took so long to get this guy. And I swear, if this doesn't even work, I'm gonna be furious. Thank God. Alright, well, it seems it does work. He did try and take the longer path, but I'm gonna test it one last time, just in case. Alright, yes, so it does 100% work. Okay, that's actually really good, because I did not just carry this guy across 4 biomes and an entire mountain just for it to not work. And actually, because of that same fact, I'm gonna keep him, because I didn't just do all that just to kill him. Oh God, and he's only just causing me more troubles. You have got to be kidding me. Come on, get through, man. And you know what? Because of all the troubles that he has caused me, he can hang off of the chandelier. Yeah, you enjoy your time dangling there, buddy. You 100% deserve that. Alright, getting back on track now, I think it might be about time that I start working on these interiors. And I have no clue what I'm going to do with these, so I'm just going to have to come up with it on the fly. The only sorts of concepts I have for these two buildings is that I want them to at least be shops, because they're right next to the entrance, so it wouldn't really make sense for them to not be. Right, well there's no point in delaying it, so I might just get started. I'm going to put in some floors and some roofs, and then we'll be good to go. So let's just put those in real quick. And with that in place, I think we are good to work on the interior now. So I think I might start over here with a couple of entrance decor, just like so. And then we'll come over here and then put in some more plants and other items. Hopefully you can tell what I'm going for here. And I think it's pretty obvious. I mean, like, there's a counter, there's a bunch of plants. Hopefully you can put 2 and 2 together. But let's just put these next items in. And hopefully with this in place now, you understand what is going on. I mean, it's pretty obvious if you ask me, but I am the one building it. So let's just finish up with this over here, and then I'll tell you what it is. So let's get this corner into place. And by now, if you still don't know what this is, I don't even understand how. Oh, I've left something here. But it's pretty simple, really. It's a florist shop. There's a lot of flowers around, there's a lot of greenery, like all of the stuff that you would imagine to be in a florist shop. But moving on to the second floor, this is going to be a little bit of a residential, so we're going back to the basics here. And starting off with this floor, I think I might put a kitchen in this area like so. And with this kitchen now built, the floor is almost done. The only thing left to do is add this area over here, and this area in here. And that's this build done. So I didn't actually put that much effort into the top floor, but I did a lot in the bottom floor, so that makes up for it in my opinion. So all that is left is for this last build over here, and then I think we can move on to that secret that I was talking about earlier in the video. So let's just quickly get this one done. Alright, so with this one I just started off by replacing the floor with a dark oak one, and then I put in some spruce stairs and roofs and floors for the upper floors as well. Starting off with the top room, I split it into 2 rooms and a corridor, filling the first one with a big old triple bed and a massive bookshelf. Going into the second room, it's just a double bed, a desk, and some sort of a long counter. Moving on to the middle floor, I started off by making another entrance and making it some sort of a living space with a carpet, a couch, and some bookshelves. Now turning around, the space between the stairs was very blank, but I couldn't put much there, so I just filled it with paintings, and then underneath the stairs, I just put a very basic kitchen design. Now finishing up this floor, I put in a big dining table with a couple of decorations on it, and then a window as well as a keg and some shelves with some plants on it. I also added some paintings above the roof before moving downstairs, where I double layered one of the walls, which will make sense later, and split the room into 2. I then just started chucking a bunch of stuff around because I'm going to make this some sort of a junk shop. I pretty much just chucked down whatever I thought looked junky and what I had excess of, so that was just a lot of pots and paintings pretty much. I then went outside and placed some extra overflow junk, finishing the build. Alright, so the main part of the build is now done, and I think it's about time that I get to that little extra detail that I was talking about earlier. And of course, that is going to be the secret in this alley right here. Oh my lag spike, what was that? But as I said, we are going to be doing the secret in the alleyway that I was talking about earlier, and that was in the title of the video. Now, I think I'm going to place the entrance to it around about here, and this is also why on the interior of this build, I did a double layered wall. And I've got a bit of a box here filled with some supplies that I think I might need to build this, and my redstone skills are pretty bad, so this might end out looking just horrible in terms of the redstone, but we're going to give it a go. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use an iron door and hide it behind a banner here, and obviously it looks pretty obvious, but once I place some boxes around, which is what I'm going to do right now, it should hopefully be pretty well hidden. Alright, well it's not immaculately hidden, but it is hidden enough to the point where I won't forget it if I come back to this world a couple of years down the line. And as a matter of fact, it is standing out a little bit, so I might just use some of these extra stuff I have in here to detail the alleyway a bit so that it's not quite as obnoxious. Okay, so I think that does actually help hide it a little bit more, and obviously it's not the most well hidden thing, but I don't want to be messing around with any piston doors because I suck at those. So I think for now, this is fine enough. Although that being said, I haven't done the redstone part for it yet, so I might need to actually change a few things around. But I might as well just get straight into it. So basically, the idea I have for how I'm going to make this work is I'm just going to have a hopper minecart sitting underneath this box here. And hopefully when I drop an item onto it, I'm going to have this running through some hoppers that are going to detect that it's got an item going through it with a comparator. And then I'm going to send that signal from the comparator through to the door to unlock it and then spit the item back out into the area that I'm going to build in this secret. Now, I don't entirely know how I'm going to make this work, but I hope that my basic understanding of redstone is going to help me here. Alright, so I've got a little bit of an area cleared here now, so hopefully this should be enough. I think it should be. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run the output from this hopper into a little bit of a pulse extender, just so that it has enough time to actually activate the door and hold it open. And if I'm not wrong, all I should need to do to make a simple pulse extender is just do this. I don't know, maybe we should test it before I go and do anything too rash. Did it go through? Huh, wait, is it not? It might not be in the hopper for long enough to send a signal through. That makes it a bit more complicated, because now I need to lock this hopper and unlock it. Actually, you know what? I think I know a pretty easy way to do this, because I should just be able to run these two, and this is off, so it's not going to activate the door, and then hopefully when the pulse comes through into here, it should turn this off, which allows the item to pass through, which also turns this on and opens the door. I don't know, let's see. Yeah, there we go. Alright, actually, did that open the door? I didn't hear it open, so I might just need to double check that real quick. Yeah, it did open, it just doesn't make a sound. That's really strange. Why isn't it making a sound? Alright, nice. So we have the opening mechanism done now, so we might go inside and actually work out what this place is going to look like. Okay, so I think we're just going to start off with a stair going down so that we're actually underneath the build, and that way we have enough space to do whatever we want. Okay, so this should be deep enough, and I might just dig out a decently sized room to start off with, and then I might start branching it out into a couple of extra rooms. While I'm digging this out, I've actually just come up with a pretty good idea. I might link this up to some of the sewage drainways that I've got in some of the alleyways, and make it connected so then it actually looks like these people are spying on the villagers. Okay, so I've hollowed out a decent amount of space for an entrance room here, and I'm just gonna pretty much copy the palette from the building above. So it's just gonna have the exact same purple terracotta walls in it. I don't think I've actually explained what this place is going to be. It's pretty much just gonna be like an underground group of people that are pretty wealthy, and they just do a bunch of shady and illegal things underground underneath the town. And to help sell that idea, I've installed 3 extra mods. 2 of them help with adding extra paintings, and another one is the armor stand poser mod. So to decorate this first room, we're actually gonna use those mods immediately. So the first one is this armor stand poser mod, so I'm probably gonna try and find a pose, and then I'm gonna put some stuff on it. Alright, this one looks pretty good, and I've actually pre-prepared some stuff, so I'm gonna put this on. And actually another mod that I forgot to mention as well is this mod that allows you to have villager heads. Or actually, as a matter of fact, it's any heads in general, so you can get heads off of any mob. But now that I've done that, I can just scroll here, and then I can move them straight into the box. And there we go, see, because now it just looks like a statue in there, and in this space here, I'm probably also going to put a painting as well. But let's get this other villager set up first. Alright, nice. So now both of these are in here, and it's a decent little decoration in here. I mean, as you can see, as you come down, it looks pretty good, but this space in here is still pretty barren, so I'm going to use the painting mod that I installed to put a painting in here. So let me just quickly upload the image. Alright, so here it is in here, so let's just adjust this a little bit so then it fits in there better, and we can just put it straight in. And as a matter of fact, let's put a frame on it as well. So this is a pretty good group of mods that I've installed here, and it's going to actually allow me to detail this place pretty well. Alright, so now I just need to make it so that this circuit here actually spits out the item that you put into it, so that I'm not just losing items every time I come into here. So I'm just going to run a line of hoppers into the room that we just built and spit it out with a dispenser. Alright, we're underneath it now, so I might just go in a couple more blocks just to make sure that it spits it out into the center of the room. Let's just check where we are before we actually make it. Alright, this seems pretty good. Alright, this one should be a whole lot easier than the last one, because I don't really need to do much. I just need to run the comparator out of it and then just run a line straight back into it. Alright, well, as far as I know, that should work, and I don't see any reason why it shouldn't, so I'm just going to hope it does and finish applying the rest of the hoppers. Okay, I don't actually think I'm gonna have enough hoppers for this, and that's a little bit annoying, because that means I'm gonna have to go make more, but I'm pretty sure I have the iron to do it, so it shouldn't be a bother. Or actually, I think I have just the right amount. Actually, one more than I needed. Alright, well that's nice. I don't need to go and do anything else. You know, I probably should have actually tested to make sure this entire system worked before I filled it in, but it's whatever. I don't really need to make sure that much. I'm sure it does work. Alright, so let's just put this door back on and give it a test run. We'll just chuck a piece of redstone dust in there, seeing we have plenty of it if it gets lost. Alright, so the door did open. Let's see if it spits it out. There we go. Alright, well, it keeps on spitting it back into the hopper, but that won't happen when there's a block on top of it. Alright, well, with that closed off now, I might just give it one last test, and I think it should be fine. Alright, so the door is open. And is it going to spit it out? And yes, it does. Alright, easy as. With that in place now, unfortunately, I do think that is about as much time as I have for today. So we're going to have to leave the rest of this place for the next episode. But that just means that you have something good to look forward to. So if you do want to see that, make sure that you like and subscribe so that then you know when the video comes out and so it pops up in your feed. Alright, well I've got a lot of lore to plan out, so I'll see you next time.